Player ratings then, Manchester City 3, Everton 0 at the Etihad. Another defeat for Rafa Benitez comes in the least surprising fashion, doesn't it? Let's be honest. I think we all had the feeling going into this game it wasn't going to be a pretty outcome. I said on Friday, I'm not particularly... There's a scenario where I could leave, the pub, or I could finish watching this game having Everton lost and still be relatively happy in a strange way, or not happy but proud and certainly not angry and frustrated at the football club. And that solution would have come had we have worked hard, battled, fought, give everything, give them something to think about. And okay, we weren't as embarrassing as the last time out at the Etihad today, but I just still feel like we could have given more. I still feel like there was certain players who just weren't really interested, didn't really look like they were bothered about, getting a result. And I felt like we could have given more. Maybe I'm wildly off the mark there. Maybe it's just a case of that these players in this Everton side are nowhere near the level of this Manchester City side. And that's right, by the way. That is completely true. Maybe we just couldn't get anywhere near them because they're that much better than us. But I just think when you see Palace giving them a game, when you see teams like, Wolves historically giving them a game, Tottenham, who were utter dross, giving them a game, I just look at that and think, well, surely Everton can give them a game. Surely Everton can make it difficult for them, but, evidently not. Anyway, let's get straight into it. Jordan Pickford, I'm going to give Jordan a 7 today. I thought he made some really, really good saves to keep us in the game at times. He did have a couple of nervy moments towards the start of the game. He had one where the cross come in and he sort of flapped at it in a challenge with Phil Foden. He managed to claw it away, which was okay in the end, and it never come of anything. But he had a couple of sort of nervy moments in the opening 5 or 10 minutes. But he also, again, as I said, other than that, he didn't put a foot wrong. He made an exceptional save to deny Raheem Sterling in the second half, which would have made it 3-0 and game over at that point, even though it was game over at 1-0, let's be honest. Yeah, he had another couple of crosses which he come and dealt with really, really well. He had a couple of outside of the box shots from Manchester City that he dealt with as well. Don't think he could have done anything for the goal, the first goal. I think it was probably more Michael Keane's fault for allowing Sterling to run off him, but it's an unbelievable ball by Cancelo. He certainly couldn't have done anything for the second goal, and the third goal again is woeful defending. So yeah, I'm going to give Jordan a 7 today. Made a couple of really, really big saves, and I don't think we can really blame him for the result today. Luka Dean is getting a 4 today. In fact, no, he's getting a 3 today, to be honest with you. Defensively, he was all over the place, in my opinion. It was far too easy for Manchester City to get down those wide positions, both on the right and left hand side. Raheem Sterling had a field day creating chances for Phil Foden or whoever else was in the box at the time, in terms of putting crosses in and creating opportunities. I thought Lucas won a couple of balls well. He made a really good challenge at one point, which denied a goal. But overall, I just think, again, there was a number of times when he was just caught sleeping massively, and he got nowhere near. Ultimately got nowhere near the wide players putting balls into the box. And I suppose that's how you judge a fullback, isn't it? If he's not getting forward, creating chances and scoring goals, which he wasn't, then I suppose you've got to judge on his defensive ability. And I don't think it was very good today. So there you go. Lucas is getting a 4. On the other side, Seamus Coleman, a 3. On the other side, Seamus Coleman, he's getting a 3 as well. Very, very, very similar. Obviously, in terms of offensive play, there was nothing there whatsoever, as expected, and I don't particularly blame either fullback for that. But defensively, I think, especially when Alex Iwobi come on, the pair of them were just all over the place, absolutely all over the place. Again, it was far too easy for Manchester City to put crosses into the box. It was far too easy for Manchester City to get down those wide areas and create chances ultimately and hurt us. And I just don't think either fullback covered themselves in a lot of glory today. Yes, obviously, it's taking it into the context of the situation in the game as to that Manchester City's players are head and shoulders better than ours are. However, it still doesn't mean that they played well, or the fullbacks played well, or they deserve a high score. Into the centre of defence then, Michael Keane, I'm going to give him a 5. I thought he done okay before Manchester City's first goal. I think he defended relatively well. I think there was a couple of balls that come in that he crunched that and he dealt with and he took gambles on, and it ended up paying off. He probably could have done better for the first. As I said, he allowed Sterling to run off him far too quickly, but maybe that's just because as I said, City are far better than we are. And I think the third goal as well, Michael Keane is one of 3 players that tries to block the same shot but not follow any of the other Manchester City players that are in the box, which is a bit baffling. But yeah, again, look, he was all right today, considering, as I said, he didn't make any real individual errors or individual mistakes. But ultimately we lost 3-0 and we weren't very good defensively. It could have been 4, 5 or 6, so I'm not going to sit here and give him an 8. Ben Godfrey next to him, I'll give him the same 5. Very similar. A couple of times the ball got into him and he done well to get it out, but ultimately, City found it far too easy to create chances and to get in our to get in our box, and they done that. I think not even getting out of second, third gear, to be perfectly honest with you. Into the midfield then, Fabian Delph, I'm going to give him a 5. Not his greatest game of football in an Everton shirt, to be fair. Didn't have the impact that he had against Tottenham before the international break, or against Wolves when he come off the bench a couple of weeks ago either. Obviously Manchester City's midfield is head and shoulders better than what ours is, and although our midfielders, I think, worked and tried their best and tried to keep hold of the ball, they were always 3-4 steps behind where Manchester City's midfielders are. So Fabian Delph gets a 5, he falls into that. Alan next to him, I'm going to give him a 6. Thought he was marginally better than Fabian Delph. Again, as I said, didn't really have much of the ball. To be fair, it's hard doing these player ratings because we didn't really have much of the ball whatsoever, did we? To be honest with you, I mean, I don't even think Richarlison touched the ball more than 5 times in the entire game. So it's really, really difficult to do player ratings and try and rate individual players on the basis that we had about 3% possession in the entirety of the game. But no, Alan, as I said, again, wasn't great. Obviously not as fast as the Manchester City midfield and not as good, let's be honest. But I'm not going to sit here and have a massive go at him because I don't think he done anything massively wrong. He was just over, I suppose. Again, they were just better than what we were, and I think Rodri in the middle of the park was better than what Alan is, to be perfectly honest with you. And then into the forward line then, let's go with Anthony Gordon first. I'm going to give Anthony a 6 today. Thought he worked hard, thought the determination was there, thought the passion was there. I think he was one of the only Everton players that you can look at and think he's given 100%. However, I'm not going to sit here and try and sugarcoat it. He wasn't very good. Let's have it right. He wasn't very good. I think Anthony might have fell into that sort of mentality of when we break, almost sort of going into a little bit of a shell and thinking, shit, what do we do with the ball now? I've got a chance to cross it, or I've got a chance to create an opportunity. I don't really know where to go with this. And that'll probably come with experience, and that'll probably come with time and game time and stuff like that. But whilst he worked really hard, whilst he ran round, whilst he battled, he wasn't really in the game, was he? He picked the ball up a couple of times, he won it back a couple of times, but he never really created anything, and ultimately that's his job. Demarai Gray, I'm going to give him a 6, a 5, a 6, I suppose. Obviously he went off really early on in the game, so it's very hard to judge him on that. However, I think whilst he was on the pitch, we created this we had a half chance in the opening couple of minutes that obviously was down to Demarai Gray running and diving the ball. Again, though, doing a bit too much with the ball, not letting go of it first time, or not letting go of it at the right time, trying to drive it a little bit, more centrally than what he should be doing. But ultimately, whilst Demarai Gray was on that pitch, in the opening 10 minutes that he was on the pitch, obviously he pulled up with an injury, we looked more of an attacking threat than we did for the entirety of the rest of the game. And that shows how important he is to this Everton team ultimately. Hands off Townsend, I'm giving him a 4. Not as great as the game in an Everton shirt today, to be honest with you. Whilst, as again, he ran round and worked hard, didn't create anything. His crossing in the box was poor. I felt he had a free kick which he tried to shoot, which was a little bit strange. I don't know why he didn't cross it in, because he was never going to score from that angle. But yeah, he was pretty much absent today. And again, all in the context of the game, playing Manchester City, etc. But he wasn't very good. And then Richarlison, I'm going to give Richie a 4 as well. Listen, I don't particularly blame Richarlison. And that's not just because I like him, but that's because I think he was given the task of, you be the target man. You know, any balls that come into the box, any chances that are created, you're on the end of them, you're scoring them. He tried the bicycle kick, which would have been nice. Then obviously it never come off. But ultimately, because of that role of him being the target man and him being on the end of chances created, when we're not creating any chances whatsoever, he then had a game where he basically didn't do anything, did he? Changed his boots at half time, which is probably the most action he was involved in. And as I said, I'm not particularly blaming him for that. He ran round, he worked hard, but he just couldn't get anywhere. So I don't think I can give him much of a higher rating, to be honest. Onto the substitutes bench then. I'm trying to remember who come on. Alex Iwobi come on, obviously, for Damari Gray in the opening 15 minutes. I'm going to give Alex Iwobi a 4 today. Typical vintage Alex Iwobi performance, really, wasn't it? Had a couple of, as I said, half chances. For me, he has one really, really good chance where he's got the ball. Kyle Walker, whilst being very, very quick, Kyle Walker's a good couple of yards behind him, and he sort of, if he gets his head down and just runs, he creates a chance for himself, and he almost appears to slow down, almost as if to say, shit, I don't want to be here, what am I doing here, I'll slow it down. And then Kyle Walker just comes in behind him and takes the ball off him. When you're playing a side like Manchester City away from home, and they're so dominant in possession, and they've got the ball constantly, and they're not giving you any time or any space, and you get chances like that, you can't afford to just be slowing down, you can't afford to be wasting them. And he did today. And again, other than that, his passing was really, really poor. Really, really poor. He gave the ball away on a number of occasions in dangerous areas almost instantly after coming on. As I said, wasn't great. But it was a typical Alex Iwobi performance, wasn't it? It wasn't anything that we're shocked about, to be honest with you. Solomon Rondon, I'm going to give him a 2. I think he won the ball once and passed it once. I think that was about all of the action he had, to be honest with you. And there's nothing really else, much more to say about that. And then Tyler Onyango, I can't really rate him, to be honest, because I don't think he touched the ball. I really, really don't think he touched the ball. But what I would say is he's getting a 10 for making his recovery, being back in the Premier League squad and getting on the pitch. I think Tyler Onyango has got a massive future ahead of him at this football club, and hopefully we see him a lot more, because I think certainly in this period with Abdoulaye Doucouré out, I think he could potentially play a big, big role. But anyway, look, there you go. They are the player ratings. Let us know your thoughts on them in the comments section down below. If you've enjoyed this one, please do hit that like button. Don't forget to check out the Instant Match Reaction if you haven't already as well. That is up on the channel now. And yeah, like I said, leave your thoughts in the comments. Big, big thanks for watching, and we'll see you soon on the Mighty Blues.